and gentlemen, good evening. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Education pursuant to New Jersey statutes and the rules adopted by the Board of Education. Notice of this meeting was sent to rural community newspapers, the Star Ledger, and Cablevision of Elizabeth on Friday, October 12, 2012. In addition, this notice is posted on the bulletin board in the lobby of 500 North Broad Street, and pursuant to this act, a copy has been filed with the City Clerk of Elizabeth. I wish to extend a warm welcome to everyone present and to our television viewers to this October 18, 2012 meeting of the Elizabeth Board of Education. We are here to govern, provide management oversight, and make policy for the district. The superintendent manages the district. This is a meeting of the board in public, not a public meeting. This meeting is being recorded and will become part of the Elizabeth Board of Education permanent record. In order that the recording will adequately reflect the proceedings, please refrain from talking while others are speaking. I also ask you that you silence the sound on your electronic devices, since it is legally mandated that these proceedings be accurately recorded. I may have to ask for order periodically should noise begin to interfere with our recording capabilities. I am pleased that you have taken the time this evening to join us. Thank you for your interest in the Elizabeth Public Schools. There will be a public portion for citizens to address the board. Participants for the public portion must sign in 1 hour prior to the advertised start of the meeting so that they may have the opportunity to speak. The sign-in sheet states the name, address, telephone number, and reason that the person wants to comment, whether it is an agenda item or a general education comment. Roll call, Mr. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Here.
Donoso.
Here.
Gonzalez. Montero.
Here.
Munn. Padlow.
Here.
Pereira.
Here.
Trujillo. Nasca.
Present. Dr. Green, would you be kind enough to lead us in the invocation?
We pray your blessings upon us, O Lord, as we discuss the business of Elizabeth students, O Lord. We ask your blessings. We ask for your wisdom and guidance in making the right decisions. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Green. Please remain standing for the presentation of colors, which will be presented by the Admiral William F. Halsey Jr. Leadership Academy, Junior ROTC.
Forward. March.
For the Pledge of Allegiance by Naomi Stevens, 10th grade student at Elizabeth High School.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Naomi. Now, the Elizabeth High School Select Choir will perform the Star Spangled Banner by Francis Scott Key. Elizabeth High School leads us in the Pledge of Ethics.
As a member of the Elizabeth Public Schools professional learning community, I will treat people as I wish to be treated. To do that, I pledge to understand that the school community is a special place. Listen respectfully when someone else is speaking by paying close attention and not interrupting. Speak in a calm voice and use proper language. Dress appropriately for teaching and learning. Inspire the best of myself and others by celebrating successes and learning from mistakes. Care about others by demonstrating acts of kindness. Be a lifelong learner by taking every opportunity to learn from others.
Please be seated as we watch our core beliefs video.
We believe all students can learn and achieve at high levels.
We will ensure that all students graduate prepared to pursue a post-secondary education.
We believe that teachers make a positive difference in student achievement.
We will recruit, develop, retain, and celebrate world-class teachers.
We believe that effective leaders produce excellent results. We will recruit, develop, retain, and reward result-driven leaders.
We believe that a high-performing team produces a legacy of enduring greatness.
We will build a high-performing team that achieves excellence.
Tonight we're lucky enough to have a few performances. The first one is A Long Way Home by Ruth Elaine Schramm. Was selected in recognition of Breast Cancer Awareness Month and is being performed by the Elizabeth High School Select Choir. Ladies and gentlemen, the Elizabeth High School Select Choir. They sound like angels. Fantastic job, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Before our second performance, I'm going to ask the people that are standing by the door if they could come on in. There's plenty of seating on either side of the auditorium, and we have performers that need to make it down to the left side of the auditorium. So if everyone could please be seated, just to make sure that for the safety of the performers and so that everyone's comfortable and seated. Our second performance is a dance which will be performed in recognition of Hispanic Heritage Month. A salsa medley will be performed by students of Danz Studio. we go through our agenda, I'm going to ask my colleagues to join me at the front of the stage as we have a number of presentations that we would like to make. Tonight, we are proud to honor many of our excellent schools under the Elizabeth Public Schools Accountability System. The accountability system was put in place by the Elizabeth Board of Education to hold people responsible for meeting standards, changing behavior, and delivering excellent results. This policy supports the high expectations of the district, setting performance standards for schools, principals, and teachers. The district's accountability system goes beyond the state and federal systems, setting more ambitious and far-reaching goals. Our system is one that holds our team members accountable for student achievement, student attendance, and a culture that promotes higher learning. On behalf of the Elizabeth Board of Education, I congratulate the following schools for supporting Elizabeth Public Schools' high performance standards and for making our district proud. This recognition is based on student achievement, performance on district and state summative assessments, and adequate yearly progress, or AYP. The first section of awards will be for 2009-2010. Would the principals of each school please come forward to accept on behalf of your school and your school's team members. 4-star schools. Donald Stewart Early Childhood Center, School number 51. Martin Luther King Jr. Early Childhood Center, School number 52. Three-star schools, Mabel G. Holmes, number 5, Annex A. Cassandra Mature, Marquis Lafayette, School number 6. Christopher Columbus, School number 15. Woodrow Wilson, School number 19. Dr. Albert Einstein Academy, School number 29. Ronald Reagan Academy, School number 30. Francis C. Smith Early Childhood Center, School number 50. Eganoff Early Childhood Center. New Hope Center for Early Childhood Education. And Proceed 1 Early Childhood Development Center. Those were the school ratings for the pre-K schools. Now, for K-12 schools, we have 2 5-star schools. Terrence C. Riley, School number 7, and William F. Halloran, School number 22 at 31. 4-star school, Elizabeth High School. 3-star schools, Victor Radline, School number 21 at 31, and Dr. Orlando Pedreira Academy, School number 26. Review of Excellence Recognition System 2009-2010. Creating a high-performance district culture based on high expectations will lead to high student achievement. To this end, the board recognizes with its gold, silver, and bronze key recognition system important elements that contribute positively to the district's culture, which include, but is not limited to, student attendance, college enrollment, rigorous curriculum, and value-added teaching. For school attendance 2009-2010, the gold key goes to Terrence C. Riley, School number 7, Madison Monroe, School number 16, William F. Halloran, School number 22 at 31, Dr. Orlando Herrera, school number 26. Dr. Albert Einstein Academy, school number 29. And Elizabeth High School. Earning the Silver Key in recognition for student attendance is Joseph Baptist School number 4, Elmora School number 12, Robert Morris School number 18, Woodrow Wilson School number 19, Charles J. Hudson School number 25, and Ronald Reagan Academy School number 30. Achieving bronze feat in student attendance for 2009-2010, Nicholas S. LaCourte, Peterstown School number 3, Mabel G. Holmes School number 5, Susan Lovator Marquis de Lafayette School number 6, Benjamin Franklin School number 13, Abraham Lincoln School number 14, Christopher Columbus School number 15, John Marshall School number 20, Victor Ravlack School number 21 and 31, Nicholas Murray Butler School number 23, Dr. Antonio Pantoja School number 27, Juan Pablo Duarte Jose Julian Martí School number 28, and the Alexander Hamilton Preparatory Academy. Our next recognition is for college-bound students 2009-2010. This recognizes high schools based on percentage of seniors who were accepted in 2- or 4-year college universities. The college-bound students 2009-2010 recognitions. This recognizes high schools based on percentage of seniors who were accepted in 2- or 4-year colleges or universities. The gold key goes to Elizabeth High School. Silver, Alexander Hamilton Preparatory Academy. And bronze to the Thomas Jefferson Arts Academy. Our next awards are for 2010-2011. We begin with school ratings pre-K program schools in 2010-2011. We have 3 5-star schools. They are Francis C. Smith Early Childhood Center School number 50, Donald Stewart Early Childhood Center School number 51, and Eganoff Early Childhood Center. Our 4-star schools are Terrence C. Riley School number 7, Elmora School number 12, Nicholas Murray Butler School number 23, Dr. Antonio Pantoja School number 27, Juan Pablo Duarte Jose Julian Martí School number 28, Dr. Albert Einstein Academy School number 29, Ronald Reagan Academy School number 30, Martin Luther King Jr. Early Childhood Center School number 52, Proceed 1 Early Childhood Development Center, Proceed 2 Early Childhood Development Center. Our 3-star schools are George Washington School number 1, Winfield Scott School number 2, Mabel G. Holmes School number 5, Mabel G. Holmes School number 5, Annex A and Annex B. Passat de la Marquis de Lafayette School number 6, Madison Monroe School number 16, Woodrow Wilson School number 19, Victor Maravnak School number 21 and 31, Elizabeth Port Presbyterian Center, Jefferson Park Daycare Center, Little Schoolhouse, New Hope Center for Early Childhood Education, Wonder World, and Wonder World. Now we have the school ratings for 2010-2011 K-12 schools. Our 5-star schools are Terrence C. Riley School number 7, William M. Howard School number 22 at 31, and Elizabeth High School. Our 3-star schools, Victor Maravnak School number 21 and 31. The Keys to Excellence Recognition System, Student Attendance 2010-2011. Gold Key, Terrence C. Riley School number 7, William F. Howard School number 22 at 31, Dr. Orlando Herrera Academy School number 26, Elizabeth High School. Silver Key, Abraham Lincoln School number 14, Robert Morris School number 18, Woodrow Wilson School number 19, Victor Maravnak School number 21 and 31, Dr. Albert Einstein School number 29, Ronald Reagan Academy School number 30. Our bronze key goes to Nicholas S. McCord Peterstown School number 3, Joseph Patton School number 4, Santo Victor Marquis de Lafayette School number 6, Memorial School number 12. Benjamin Franklin School number 13, Columbus School number 15, Madison Monroe School number 16, John Marshall School number 20, Nicholas Murray Butler School number 23, Charles J. Hudson School number 25, Dr. Antonia Pantoja School number 27, Juan Pablo Duarte Jose Julian Martí School number 28, and Hamilton Preparatory Academy. And our last recognition is for college-bound students 2010-2011, Gold Key Alexander Hamilton Preparatory Academy and Elizabeth High School. Mr. Kennedy, would you please lead us through the agenda?
Approval of the minutes from the meetings of September 13 and October 9.
Approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Trujillo, second by Ms. Castillo. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Mr. Kennedy.
Castillo. Reynoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez. Montero.
Yes.
Padlo.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Nasco.
Yes.
Acceptance of the Secretary and Treasurer's report for the month of August.
Approve the report.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Pereira, second by Mr. Gonzalez. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Mr. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Reynoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero. Padlo.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Nasco.
Yes.
Two A personnel report.
Move the report. Second. Moved by Mr. Pereira, second by Mr. Gonzalez. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Mr. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Reynoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero.
Yes.
Padlo.
Yes.
Pereira.
Abstain.
Trujillo.
Abstain.
Nasco.
Yes.
Tab 3 tuition report.
Move the report.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Gonzalez, second by Ms. Castillo. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Mr. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Reynoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero.
Yes.
Padlo.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Nasco.
Yes.
3A supplemental tuition report.
Move the report.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Gonzalez, second by Mr. Pereira. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Mr. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Reynoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero.
Yes.
Padlo.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Nasco.
Yes.
4A, request for considerations.
What is the pleasure of the board?
Second.
Made the motion. By Ms. Pereira. Ms. Pereira. Motion made by Ms. Pereira, second by Ms. Castillo. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Denoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero. Hadlow.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Nasca.
Yes.
Four B, use of facilities.
Move the report with
Second.
waiver of all fees on 1, 2, and 3.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Donoso, second by Ms. Castillo. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Mr. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Denoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero. Hadlow.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Nasca.
Yes.
4BB, use of facilities with fees.
Move the report. Second.
Moved by Mr. Pereira, second by Mr. Pato. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Mr. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Denoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero.
Yes.
Hadlow.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Nasca.
Yes.
4C, field trips.
Approve the trips.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Trujillo, second by Ms. Castillo. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Denoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero.
Yes.
Hadlow.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Nasca.
Yes.
4CC, supplemental field trips.
Move the report.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Pereira, second by Mr. Padlo. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Denoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero.
Yes.
Hadlow.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Nasca.
Yes.
Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Mr. President, members of the board, members of the public, viewers at home. 2012 College Fair at Danz Sports Center to kick off Elizabeth Public Schools One Fest 12. Once again, the Elizabeth Public Schools is showing its commitment to preparing every student for post-secondary education. The school district will be hosting its 2012 College Fair on November 1st at 7 p.m. at Danz Sports Center, located at 151 Pearl Street. Dozens of colleges and universities from all over the East Coast have been invited to attend. Among the exhibitors at the College Fair were well-known New Jersey colleges, including Princeton University, NJIT, Rider College, and Rutgers University, as well as colleges from Pennsylvania, West Virginia, South Carolina, Rhode Island, New York, Connecticut, and Washington, D.C. The 2012 College Fair will also be serving as the kickoff event to the inaugural EPS One Fest. One Fest 12 is a festival hosted by the Elizabeth Public Schools showcasing the excellence achieved in academics, athletics, and the arts by students and staff. The festival will take place Thursday, November 1st through Saturday, November 3rd. To find out more on the One Fest, you can visit our website. Madison Monroe, School number 16, kindergarten students completed the Boo Boo Bear Learns About Bullying program with the school social worker, Mrs. Uniac, during the school's week of respect. First grade students at George Washington School number 1 will tell you that BEAN stands for Bullies Everywhere Are Now Stopped. On October 1st, the guidance department, along with the school social workers at Thomas Edison Academy, set up an HIV station to distribute information about harassment, intimidation, and bullying. Additional schools did Week of Respect programs at school number 29, School 16, Alexander Hamilton Preparatory Academy, and School 30. In honor of the lives lost on September 11th, students and team members of Benjamin Franklin School number 13 gathered outside under the American flag at 8:46 a.m. and paused for a moment of silence. As a symbol of the love, students tied ribbons to the surrounding school fence to represent those affected by the tragedy of that day and the heroes continuing to fight for freedom. Mrs. Lopez's second grade class at Victor Mavlash School number 21 and William F. Howard School number 20 commemorated Patriot Day in a unique way. Students worked in groups to design bulletin boards that represented our country, unified to remember those that lost their lives during the terrorist attacks at the World Trade Center. The students also wrote about the heroes that went beyond their duties to help others. 6 of the advanced television students from Thomas Jefferson Arts Academy worked to broadcast the Elizabeth versus Union football game on MSG Varsity Channel on September 14th. In September, teams of teachers provided students at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Early Childhood Center at School number 52 with hands-on lessons about the life cycle of the butterfly. In honor of International Peace Day, students at Benjamin Franklin School number 13 were educated about history, traditions, and the importance of world peace. Alexander Hamilton Preparatory Academy is preparing more students than ever for post-secondary education. In fact, having increased both the number of advanced placement courses offered as well as the number of students taking advanced placement courses, the Academy is ensuring its place among the best high schools in America. Madison Monroe School number 16 has earned the bronze level recognition of the Healthy Schools program sponsored by the Alliance for a Healthier Generation. Benjamin Franklin School number 13 continues to implement AVID, Advancement via Individual Determination. Dr. Albert Einstein Academy School number 29 received the greenhouse and 3 to 4 raised garden beds as part of the STEAM agriculture class. Ronald Reagan Academy School number 30 inducted its new peer leaders for the school year 2012-13. 6th grade students at Abraham Lincoln School number 14 during their Spanish class researched and discussed different Hispanic Americans that participated in this year's Summer Olympics in London. Mrs. Sanchez's 7th grade class at Dr. Antonia Pantoja School number 27 used iPads to synthesize data on the Earth's tilt rotation and Earth's revolution around the sun. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and the faculty at Amora School number 12 will recognize this important event by participating in Denim Day. And congratulations to the Elizabeth High School Marching Band. After taking first place at their first U.S. Bands competition of the season in Edison, New Jersey on October 7th with a score of 79.4 and winning the Caption Award in music and overall effect, the Elizabeth High School Marching Band took it to the next level at MetLife Stadium by winning first place in the Yamaha competition. The band scored 83.988 and won the Caption Award in visual and again in overall effect, besting 7 of other bands in their group. Congratulations to the Elizabeth High School Marching Band. You can continue to follow the excellent experiences that our students are receiving on our website, on EPS TV, and on Facebook. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Before we move forward with the rest of the agenda, I would like to take this opportunity to invite everyone to the One Fest, our inaugural One Fest. It really is going to be a tremendous event that's going to be taking place November 1st through Saturday, November 3rd. There's going to be many activities and many events throughout different buildings throughout our district. And it's just another way that we celebrate the excellence and the achievement of our school children, which we are so proud of. So I want to take this opportunity and invite everyone to visit the www.epsnj.org/OneFest to get the schedule of events. It really is going to be a fantastic weekend of activities, and I look forward and hope to see you there. Mr. Kennedy?
Tab number 5, authorization report.
Move the report. Moved by Mr. Pereira, second by Mr. Padlo. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Denoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes, one exception in page 5.
Montero.
Yes.
Padlo.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Abstain.
Nazca.
Yes.
Tab 5A, supplemental authorization report.
The report.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Gonzalez, second by Ms. Castillo. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Denoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero.
Yes.
Padlo.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Abstain.
Nazca.
Yes.
5B, second supplemental authorization report.
The report.
Second. Moved by Mr. Gonzalez, second by Ms. Castillo. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Denoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero.
Yes.
Padlo.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Nazca.
Yes.
Six, finance and accounting report.
The report.
Second. Moved by Mr. Gonzalez, second by Mr. Pereira. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Denoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero.
Yes.
Padlo.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Nazca.
Yes.
6A, transfer funds.
Transfer the funds.
Moved by Mr. Trujillo, second by Mr. Padlo. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Denoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero.
Yes.
Padlo.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Nazca.
Yes.
Tab number 7, award of contracts.
Award the contracts.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Trujillo, second by Mr. Gonzalez. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Denoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero.
Yes.
Padlo.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Nazca.
Yes.
7A, supplemental award of contracts.
Award the contracts.
Second. Moved by Mr. Trujillo, second by Mr. Pereira. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Denoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero.
Yes.
Padlo. Yes. Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Nazca.
Yes.
7B, second supplemental award of contracts.
Award the contracts.
Second. Motion made by Mr. Trujillo, second by Mr. Pereira. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Denoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero.
Yes.
Padlo.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Nazca.
Yes.
Tab 8, miscellaneous communications. There are none. Tab 9, claims list.
Move the report.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Gonzalez, second by Ms. Castillo. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Denosa,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Montero,
Yes.
Padla, yes. Ferrer,
Abstain.
Trujillo,
Yes.
Nazca,
Yes.
Tab 10, resolution assignment of section 504.
Mr. President, if I may, Mr. Kennedy, I'd like to change my vote to an abstention on tab 9.
Thank you. Resolution 10, assignment of section 504 officer for the 12-13 school year.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Gonzalez, second by Ms. Castillo. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Kennedy.
Castillo,
Yes.
Denosa,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Montero,
Yes.
Padla, yes. Ferrer,
Yes.
Trujillo,
Yes.
Nazca.
Yes. Mr. Denoso, will you read 10B, please?
Certainly.
I'm sorry. 10A.
Certainly, Mr. President. Board of Education Resolution, National School Lunch Week. Whereas lunch programs can increase educational achievement, improve child health, decrease classroom disruptions and discipline problems, and whereas the school lunch program increases a child's readiness to learn and so enables them to obtain the full benefits from instruction while providing solid nourishment for physical growth. And now, therefore, be it resolved that in order to provide every child in the Elizabeth Public Schools the opportunity to reach their full potential by eating a nutritious lunch, the Elizabeth Board of Education observes the week of October 8th through the 12th, 2012, as National School Lunch Week. Be it further resolved that copies of this resolution be forwarded to all principals to encourage parents and residents to become aware that the school lunch contributes to the health, education, and vigor of our children. I move this resolution.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Denoso, second by Ms. Castillo. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Kennedy.
Castillo,
Yes.
Denosa,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Montero,
Yes.
Padla, yes. Ferrer,
Yes.
Trujillo,
Yes.
Nazca.
Yes. Mr. Padlo, will you please read 10B?
Board of Education Resolution, National Parental Involvement Day. Whereas the parents of our students are universally recognized as invaluable members of the educational team and the individuals with the primary responsibility for safeguarding the health and welfare of our students. And whereas parents and citizens must reach out to involve the larger community in education issues. And whereas day after day, the Elizabeth Public Schools parents demonstrate outstanding skills consistent with the high standards of their responsibility and addressing how to organize and make information about community needs, school resources, and student performance broadly available. And whereas in the delivery of services to students, parents and citizens must organize to create a community-wide agreement and understanding about educational improvement goals. And whereas on November 19th, 2012, we extend our appreciation and gratitude to this dedicated group of parents for all they do every day for the children in the Elizabeth Public Schools. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Elizabeth Board of Education hereby joins in the nationwide observance of National Parental Involvement Day. Be it further resolved that copies of this resolution be forwarded to all school principals and library media specialists to encourage the observance of National Parental Involvement Day in our school districts. Move the resolution.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Padlo, second by Ms. Castillo. Any questions or comments?
If I may, Mr. President,
The floor is yours, Mr. Scalia.
we tend to forget sometimes the important role the parents have in the success that we are having in this district. It is so important the parents continue to be involved. These two blue ribbon schools that we're fortunate to have here in this building and the other at School 7 couldn't be possible without the parent who comes home, turns off the television, and does the homework. It's a three-pronged success story. It's the student achieving, the educators doing a great job, and then the parents taking the time to do the homework and to instill in them the hard work that's needed to succeed. And I think it's important that if we're going to have, or we're going to grow on our successes and continue to succeed, that we do a better job of outreaching to these parents, to continue to try. We had the pleasure of going to many open houses at the beginning of the year, and I can see since the time I've been here, the momentum. More and more parents are attending these open houses, so it's working. More parents are becoming involved in their children's education, and it's important that we continue to drive that message home, because we can't succeed without the parents being involved. We can't do it alone. It's just not this board, not this great group of educators in this district. The child itself needs the support of the family and the home environment to be nurtured. It's so important that we continue to drive this, and I couldn't say it enough. It's just so important. Thank you.
Any other comments? Ms. Castillo, will you please read Resolution 10C?
Need to vote on that one first.
Have a vote on it?
Castillo.
Yes.
Noso.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero.
Yes.
Padlo.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Absolutely yes.
Nasca.
Yes.
Board of Education Resolution, Puerto Rican Heritage Month. Whereas on November 19, 1493, Christopher Columbus discovered the beautiful island of Puerto Rico, known to the Taino Indians as Borinquen, and whereas the first governor of Puerto Rico under the Spanish flag was Juan Ponce de Leon, and whereas in 1899, Puerto Rico became a territory of the United States, and in 1917, Congress granted citizenship to the Puerto Rican people, and whereas in 1952, Puerto Rico became a Commonwealth and elected its own governor and legislative representatives, and whereas the men and women of Puerto Rico have consistently demonstrated leadership, courage, and determination in upholding the ideals of freedom, and whereas its determination, perseverance, and hard work, the people of Puerto Rico has built strong families and proud communities, and have earned positions of leadership in the areas of government, business, education, sports, the science, and the arts. Now, there will be resolved that members of the Elizabeth Board of Education hereby proclaim the month of November Puerto Rican Heritage Month. Be it further resolved that copies of this resolution be forwarded to all school principals and library media specialists in the Elizabeth Public Schools to encourage the observance of this month with appropriate programs, activities, and displays that highlight the history and accomplishments of the people of Puerto Rico. So I move this resolution.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Castillo, second by Mr. Gonzalez. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Mr. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Donoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero. Padlo.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Nasca.
Yes. Mr. Trujillo, please read 10D.
Absolutely, Mr. President. Board of Education Resolution, Veterans Day. Whereas throughout the history of our country, men and women have served in our nation's armed forces with courage, with determination, and with a strong spirit of patriotism. And whereas it is because of the efforts of these brave individuals that our country has prospered and grown. And whereas in 1919, President Woodrow Wilson proclaimed November 11th as Armistice Day to remind Americans of the terrible cost in lives, property, and suffering that a war brings upon the people of a nation. And whereas in 1938, Armistice Day became a federal holiday, and in 1954, Congress changed the name of this day of observance to Veterans Day to honor all of the country's veterans. And whereas New Jersey's veterans, and especially those from our own city of Elizabeth, have made many valuable and significant contributions to the safety and security of our state and our nation in every war dating back more than 200 years. And whereas the students and staff of the Elizabeth Board of Education, the Elizabeth Public Schools, will join the nation on November 12th of this year in officially recognizing the tremendous debt of gratitude and appreciation owed to those who serve in our armed forces, both in times of peace and in times of armed conflict or crisis. And whereas it is vitally important to the future of this country that our young people continue to be made aware of the sacrifices made by those who fought to keep this nation free. Now, therefore, be it resolved that appropriate studies, programs, and displays be developed in all district schools throughout the year to help our students remember the men and women who throughout history have selflessly served our country. Be it further resolved that copies of this resolution be forwarded to all school principals and library and media specialists in the Elizabeth Public Schools. I move this resolution.
Second. Moved by Mr. Trujillo, second by Mr. Donoso. Any questions or comments? Hearing none.
Mr. President, if I may?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would like to say something, and I appreciate the honor of reading the resolution. Not that any of you are any less patriotic than I am, but I kind of like reading that stuff. You know, anytime we have the opportunity to honor the brave men and women who serve this country, who give us the opportunity to serve our country here without having to go out and fight. They do the fighting for us, often leaving their families behind, and often not coming back to those families. We can't forget that. And I can't think of any greater honor that we can bestow on those who have fought, died, and paid for our liberties than to participate in this upcoming election. This is a great country because of their sacrifice, and it would be sad that those who could participate often don't. And I hope that I can encourage you all. I won't tell you who to vote for, but I can tell you that I wish you would go out and vote. Too often we take it for granted and we find something else to do on that day, and it's really sad because we send these young men and women across the world to fight for us to have that right, and then we take it for granted. So please go out and vote this coming election and make sure that you practice your civil duty. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trujillo.
Castillo.
Yes.
Donoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero.
Yes.
Padlo. Pereira. Trujillo.
Yes.
Nazca.
Yes.
Resolution 10E, Elizabeth Public Schools One Fest.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Castillo, second by Ms. Donoso. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Donoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero.
Yes.
Padlo.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Nazca.
Yes.
Resolution 10F, Memorandum of Agreement between the Board of Ed and local law enforcement officials.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Donoso, second by Mr. Padlo. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Donoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero.
Yes.
Padlo.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Nazca.
Yes.
10G, payment for unused vacation days.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Gonzalez, second by Ms. Castillo. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Donoso.
Abstain.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero. Padlo.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Nazca.
Yes.
10H, payment for unused sick days.
The resolution.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Gonzalez, second by Ms. Castillo. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Donoso.
Abstain.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero.
Yes.
Padlo.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Nazca.
Yes.
Resolution confidentiality of personnel records.
Mr. Kennedy, if it's okay, I'm going to have Mr. Padlo read this resolution.
Sure.
Board of Education resolution, confidentiality of personnel records. Whereas the Elizabeth Board of Education adheres to all statutory and regulatory requirements relating to confidentiality of personnel records. And whereas it has come to the attention of the Board of Education that the unauthorized use of home address of certain employees has taken place with inclusion of political materials. And whereas the Board of Education believes it is imperative to take all necessary steps to ascertain how the confidential addresses of board employees came into the possession of an individual and utilized for improper purposes. Now, therefore, be it resolved as follows. The board, as a body, expresses their concern over the apparent improper use of the personal records. All pertinent material shall be provided to the appropriate educational and law enforcement personnel at the state level for their initial review. All pertinent material shall also be provided to the Elizabeth Education Association. The school district, through the legal department, shall conduct a survey to ascertain the number of employees who have had their privacy violated. I move this resolution.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Padlo, second by Mr. Donoso. Any questions or comments?
May I have been a member of the Education Association in many years, and ever in my life I have seen this. I'm a parent. Before I became a board member, I was a parent, and I'm still a parent, and I'm very much concerned about the privacy. I do respect the teachers' privacy, the administrators, and I think the confidentiality should be taken into consideration at all times, not used in different purposes. I believe that we all work and have a right to have privacy, and our children need to be protected by the same token. So I'm very upset that this has taken place. I never seen this. I have worked for DIFAS, and we used to have a very strong union also. We never saw this. So I would like the authorities to take consideration and do something and to protect the rights of the employees of this district. Thank you.
Okay, roll call, Ms. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Mr. President, I believe Mr. Montero. No, I'm trying to get your attention. I apologize.
Roll call, Ms. Kennedy.
Castillo.
Yes.
Donoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Montero.
Yes.
Padlo.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Nazca.
Yes.
This is the first reading of the following revised policy bylaw. Policy 6172, policy for alternative educational programs, and bylaw 9326 minutes. Both are available for review in the office of the School Business Administrator Board Secretary. And that concludes the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. At this time, the microphones are open for public comment to those who have signed in prior to this session. I shall call individuals to the microphone based on the order of the sign-in. Each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes in duration. The total time of public comment shall be limited to 60 minutes. No individual is able to yield their time to another individual. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. No participant may address or question board members individually. The following rules for public participation apply. Time limits will be strictly enforced. No personal attacks on individuals. No vulgar or indecent language. A person may address the board no more than once during a single meeting. Speakers should refrain from naming individuals. Comments or questions posed during public portion participation will not be debated. As a reminder, this is a meeting of the board in public, not a meeting of the public. First person I would like to call is Mr. George Mikros.
Good evening, Board Commissioners and Superintendent Mr. Munoz. I'm here tonight on behalf of my teachers and staff members in my school, Alexander Hamilton Preparatory Academy. I am the principal there. During this week, some teachers and staff members received a political letter. The teachers and staff members are very concerned and upset to receive this type of letter at their job. Please look into this matter. The teachers and staff members are very concerned. This kind of type of mailing should not be received by our employees at our school because it distracts the educational process, which is teaching and student learning. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Mikros. Next, I'd like to call Dr. Mariceli Sanchez.
Good evening, Board President Nasco, Board Commissioners, Superintendent Munoz, and all school and community members in this assembly. My name is Mariceli Sanchez. I'm a Vice Principal of Alexander Hamilton Preparatory Academy at the Annex on North Broad Street. I am here to express a concern. This week, on 2 separate days, letters addressed to teachers, 12 in total, were received at the Annex. I immediately recognized these letters because of the phrase on the envelope, "Everybody loves Raymond." As a resident of Elizabeth, I received one of these letters at home last week. This is a political election season, and I expect all types of literature at my home. But I am very concerned that these letters arrive at our employees' place of work. I request respectfully that the board investigate this matter. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next, Michael Cummings.
Good evening, Mr. Nasco, members of the Board of Education, Mr. Munoz. I'm here also about letters that we received at Elizabeth High School addressed to teachers of a political nature. As an administrator in the district, I have a deep and profound respect for the electoral process and the decisions that the community of Elizabeth has to make in the polls. But I don't believe that we should be put in the position of having to distribute that kind of material to our teachers. Moreover, the teachers themselves shouldn't be targeted at a place of at their place of business. I think they were a big surprise that someone knew where they worked and were able to reach out to them via mail at their job. So I too would respectfully ask you to investigate this matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cummings. Next, Maria Echevarria.
Hello? Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm here for a couple of things. One is over the candidates night, I kind of found it, so I felt some type of way that only one person showed up out of 3 that were invited. And another thing, hold on. These crappy flyers that you guys are putting out here on the chairs, if anybody wants a good flyer, come and get the colorful ones. Okay? That's number 2. That's not the first time you have done that, but it's whatever. Okay, another thing. Some of you are giving out some just speeches, and that's all it is, it's just speeches. There's no action behind those words. Okay, and another thing, my angel, again, I told one of you that it's supposedly a diapers worker that my child got hurt at work, so I don't know what action you have done. It's you're either not doing your job as a diapers worker, or you're just, I don't know what you're doing. Okay, because just like I'm taping this right now, I sent in this tape recorder to my son's school, and I heard from this board member of, oh, be careful what you're doing. Okay? If your child got a bruise from a staff member in the school as a parent, what would you do? So I did what I had to do. And I don't hear no action, nobody telling me what staff member at my son's school, it's an autistic school, who has harmed my child. I think as a parent's right, I have a right to know who has harmed my child. And something needs to be done. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next, I'd like to call Eric Price.
Good evening, my name is Eric Price. I'm both a resident and a teacher in Elizabeth. I actually moved into Elizabeth last year after getting married and been a teacher in the district for now 10 years. I'm also a history teacher, so I'm fully aware of politics, as it was my major in high school and college, along with administration and justice. And I understand the political process thoroughly. However, I feel that there has been a breach in the manner teachers are being treated, and our personal information has been violated, as the board members have identified, and the actions that they're taking to investigate this matter. It goes well beyond merely political propaganda going into our mailboxes at school. Our personal information has somehow been leaked, and therefore, in this current age of technology, cybercrime is of a greater concern. And if someone is able to access our information and use it in the manner that it's being used in an inappropriate way, this is an egregious violation of our privacy and of the conduct of that person that was involved in this. And I feel violated. I speak on behalf of my colleagues and of the profession as teachers. We are giving, we share information readily. However, our private lives and our personal information are just that. I'm also in the midst of having my own children, so that information could possibly be harmful to my future children, and the fact that someone perhaps may have gotten my information in terms of social security numbers, because who knows how far this individual or individuals went. So it is of great concern to me that someone would take it upon themselves and violate teachers and staff members across the district in the name of corruption, because that is what it is. And to speak candidly, this individual needs to be handled by the justice system. And I commend the board employees and board members in their stance, and the fact that you have passed a resolution and you are taking the appropriate action through emails that you have notified staff members and in the resolution that you had today. Because I personally know how detrimental this could be to someone's future, and as I am building my future, how detrimental it could be to my life, to my children, and my future life, and the lives of my children. Because if someone has that type of information, or the ability, or the intestinal fortitude to do something of this nature, that means they're willing to go even further, and they can ruin someone. So I thank the board members for your action. I thoroughly appreciate it, and I speak on not only on my own behalf, but I speak on behalf of my colleagues and staff members. Faculty, staff, teachers, we greatly appreciate the fact that you are going to get this investigated, and they are taking proper action to make sure that this matter is handled. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next, I'd like to call Nancy Carrero.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nancy Carrero, and I'm a teacher at Benjamin Franklin, school number 13. I received an envelope entitled, "Everybody Loves Raymond," and my first thought was, is the show coming back? Needless to say, I opened the envelope and skimmed through the letter. I thought to myself, I don't have time for politics, so I put it down. Once I was home, I took the time to read it, and all I kept thinking was, this is not true. I don't think for 1 minute that my job has become a political job requirement. In 13 years of teaching, I have never been asked to contribute money, or no one has ever forced me to make any type of donations. So I was really disturbed by this letter. I find the allegations against the Board of Education to be offensive, and as a member of this community, born and raised in Elizabeth, and now a proud teacher of this district, I am very upset. I will not allow this type of nonsense to interrupt my teaching and learning, and I am asking you, the board, to please investigate this matter. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next, I'd like to call Yalitza Torres.
Good evening, Commissioners, Mr. Munoz, and the Cabinet. My name is Yalitza Torres. I am the principal of Benjamin Franklin School number 13. I stand before you this evening to discuss a mailing that arrived at my school on Monday afternoon. The envelopes addressed to current and past teachers highlighted with the name of comedic sitcom Everybody Loves Raymond. To my surprise, the information received in the mailing was far from humorous. It contained slanderous attacks against the Board of Education and allegations of political sabotage. Furthermore, the letter glorifies Senator Raymond Lesniak as the man that will save us from the political junta. The author of the letter, a retired principal, prefers to be called the watchdog. Obviously, his hidden agenda targets an adverse approach to jeopardize the success of the Elizabeth Public Schools. As stated in the letter, taxpayers and children benefit most when our educational system works well, in addition to having a happy and productive workforce. How can educators improve teaching and learning when they are bombarded with the hate mail at their place of work and at the comforts of their own home? Currently, the Elizabeth Public Schools is providing excellent results because we are committed to building a legacy of greatness, ensuring that all students are ready for post-secondary education, and more importantly, the safety and happiness of our children. We will not be intimidated by the political machine of Raymond Lesniak and his pack of watchdogs. I agree, we should investigate the letters. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next, I'd like to call Nicole Comas.
Good evening, Board of Education members, Superintendent Mr. Munoz, and my esteemed colleagues. I'm standing before you this evening because of the numerous amount of staff members who have come to me concerned. They're gravely concerned that their addresses and their phone numbers have been compromised. They have a greater fear that possibly their social security numbers or sensitive health information may have been jeopardized too. I am speaking as a leader and an advocate for them, and I'm kindly asking reassurance from you that I can share with our team members that this issue is being investigated. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next, I'd like to call Beverly Gonzalez.
Good evening, board members and everybody here. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Rosemary Gonzalez. I work in School 27. And I don't want to repeat what everybody else is also saying, but yes, we our information has been put in public, which I think is extremely unacceptable. And I think something should be done about it. I just don't want to repeat everything that everybody has already said, but I just want to I think that something should be done about it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next, Iris Flores.
Board, and Mr. Pablo knows one that's here as well. Unfortunately, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a policy that I take serious here. This is our anti-bullying policy. And I'm a resident of Elizabeth for 20 plus years and a parent of 2 children in the system. However, when I came here last month, I saw something that was repulsive. Someone on this board that, no pointing fingers, that works for the board took someone's personal information and put it out, and that was the worst kind of intimidation and humiliation and harassment. I came here prior to any of this stuff based on the fact that my daughter was bullied in this school system, and for you, each and every one of you, to sit there and allow one of your employees to sit there and distribute papers out there solely to assassinate the character of another human being that's basically trying to correct his wrongs. Now, one of you sit up there without sin. I'm sure that each and every one of you has skeletons in your closet. However, I had to go home and explain to my child that believes in this board solely because she was helped, and explain to her that my board for my child does not know how to be an example for her. No, 2 wrongs do not make a right, and I am really disgusted at our fact that our superintendent allows something like that. This policy came from my board that I truly believe in.
Thank you for your comments. Next, Fatima Barakat.
Board members, superintendent, assistant superintendents, colleagues. My name is Fatima Barakat. I've been a teacher in the Elizabeth School District for 13 years now. I've been a resident also for 35 years. I'm a product of the school system as well. I'm here before you because I received, as others, a political mail piece. I received at home and in my workplace. I am truly outraged about the way my privacy has been violated. I'm concerned, especially since identity theft can become an issue if my personal information, such as my social security number or date of birth, has been compromised. I thank you for taking action and being concerned for our team members, but I'm concerned about what we can do to also prevent this in the future. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next, I'd like to call Ronald L. Lee. Ronald Lee. Okay, next I'll call Jose Rodriguez.
Good evening. I want to talk about a few words. I want to throw a couple of words out there. And I think they describe 2 separate groups that are running for the Board of Education this year. One of them is corruption, violence, and oppression. And for for those of you who may not know what oppression means, it's when one group or individual in a position of power, respect, or opportunity holds back another individual, group, or party. The other three words: integrity, leadership, honesty. Integrity is the ability to do what is right, no matter who is looking. I believe that these three issues, or these three words, are complete opposites. And I also believe that the two groups that are running in November are also complete opposites. The other thing I want to talk about is obviously the slanderous and the lie of this piece of paper. I know the Board of Education obviously doesn't do their homework, but this is a complete lie. If you were to go onto the website of NJ-ELEC, you will see that everything is completely okay. Everything is fine. We have reported everything we needed to report last year, so this is an absolute lie. I could sue the Board of Education. Obviously, we don't know who passed it out, so that doesn't really matter. And I bet $100 that this was made with Board of Education paper. So thank you for, again, wasting my money. The last issue is the #1 banners that we see everywhere. You guys are celebrating mediocrity. You're #1 because you have 68% graduation rate. You're celebrating that 1 out of every 3 students does not graduate in time. And while I'm a teacher and I absolutely believe in that we should honor students, that we should have, bring them up. I love the performances, I really do. I just don't believe we should celebrate mediocrity. I believe that this district has great students, great staff, and good schools. But we need more. We need that passion. We need to push them more and more. 68% graduation rate is garbage, I'm sorry to say. The average in New Jersey is 75%. We are under that average. And we're celebrating it. You guys are buying machines, thousands of dollars of machines, to print these banners. To celebrate mediocrity. We need more in this system. Yes, we've had some gains, but we need more. We can't just stop at just what we have. We really, really need more. Right? So again, we have great students, we have a great staff, we just need better leadership. We need to stop the corruption. We need to stop the violence in our schools. Our schools have to be safe havens. How can our students learn if they're worried about being harassed, intimidated?
Wrap up your comments, Mr. Rodriguez, please.
Thank you.
I'm sorry that you feel that our students are garbage, but we celebrate the excellence in our schools.
No, you celebrate
thank you, Mr.
mediocrity.
Rodriguez. Thank you. It's a shame that somebody who's planning to, run for the board that behaves and talks about students and the accomplishment that we have done over the past 7 years, again, I'm appalled by your comments, Mr. Rodriguez.
I said we had great students. You need to listen.
I think it's funny, Mr. Rodriguez, that you come here 18 days before the election and you try to discredit all the hard work that's being done throughout the district. Ma'am, you had your 2 minutes, okay? You can save it for the next meeting. You finally figured out, the banners are done in-house. We don't, you were alleging weeks ago that we were spending thousands and thousands of dollars having all these banners printed, and the fact they're being done in-house for very minimal cost. Unfortunately, you don't recognize the fact to have to celebrate our kids' successes. And I tell you why, because you're disconnected with this community. You come here and you want to be part of this Board of Education, but quite frankly, yes, you are an educator in a very well-to-do town where children don't have to go to bed hungry, where children have 2 parents at home, where they don't have the challenges we have in Elizabeth, okay? And you're disconnected. Those are your students. The students here are doing very well. Yes, there's a lot of work to be done, but to say that 68% is garbage? Garbage, really? That's how you think of our kids' success, as garbage? Quite frankly, I'm saddened that you use the word. Tell you the truth, it just is an indictment on your character, sir, when you say garbage with the success. What do you say to all these teachers, your colleagues that are here, that are working hard every day to succeed, that have come so long? You say that all their success is garbage? Really? That's the best word you could think of? That's going to get you elected? To describe? No, sir, you had your 3 minutes. This is my turn.
Yes,
okay.
Thank you for your comments. Mr. Rodriguez, you're out of order. Mr. Rodriguez, you're out of order. Next, I'd like to call Jerry Jacobs.
Good evening, Board of Commissioners, Mr. Munoz. My name is Jerry Jacobs. I'm a proud resident of the city of Elizabeth. I'm an active parent of 4 gorgeous children. Our oldest is 18 years old, left for the Marines this week. I have a son that attends, a 14-year-old that attends Dwyer Academy, which I'm not so happy about, as the administration is aware of. I have a 13-year-old that attends Ronald Reagan, and my wife and I have an adopted daughter who's 3 years old that attends 5 academics. First and foremost, I'd like to say to each and every board member, I truly commend you for your commitment to the Board of Education, because I know it is a thankless position. As a member of a local youth sports organization for many years, I realize the time and dedication that each of you have to put into a position that you're not paid for, that requires a thick skin and a lot of dedication to our children. It makes me a little upset to see, as an outsider, as a citizen, the type of political infighting that goes back and forth. Because I see the fighting on both sides. I would say to myself, if there was less concentration on the political infighting and more on our students, we would probably see much more success at a much faster rate. There have been great things done in the time that I've been associated with the Board of Education with my children. I can say, as a proud resident of the city of Elizabeth, the number of schools that have been built over the last 7 8 years is quite an achievement, and that makes me very proud. I can also see that there have been improvements. There have been major improvements, but there's still, as you all know, a very long road ahead of us. There's many, many students that are still attending failing schools. And while you all, I'm sure, diligently working to try to make sure every child receives the best education possible, it would behoove us, I think, if we would concentrate less on the political fighting that's happening on both sides and more on our children and the schools that our children are attending, and making sure that every child is receiving the best education possible. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you for your comments. Next, I'd like to call Maria Medeiros.
My name is Maria Medeiros. Listen, I know that I come here, go against the board and everything, but this time I do agree with these teachers. Their address, I'm a parent, and there's a lot of parents in here. If it's easy for the political people to get their information on these administrators, it's easy for them to get the parents' information, because we also do have our social security numbers and everything. So I do feel that, you know, the teachers are right and that you should look into it, because it's also the parents' information that's in the school system also. But by me saying that, Mr. Trujillo, you just made a good point. Okay, you did say that we do have kids that go to school, that go home, okay, hungry. But you also have a school board member that was indicted for stealing school lunches, and she still sits on the board. Okay, so, you know, 2 wrongs don't make a right. If you're going to preach about something, you have to look upon your own board members that did what they did. Stealing school lunches and going to bed hungry, you know, it's a shame. And also, we also have a school board member that I will not name a name, because I don't want to bring them embarrassment because they feel like that I'd like to attack them.
but we also have a board member that sits on the finance, and that I could prove it, because I'm not going to get sued, I do have to prove that they also have 4 judgments against them in the courts because they don't know how to pay a credit card. So you understand, when you try to throw stones at other people and try opening up doors to dirty laundry, you should look upon yourselves before doing that. Because see, I go both ways. I'm not for Ray Lesniak, I can't stand the man. Okay, I think that he's an idiot to me. But the thing is like, we're running a school board and, you know, these flyers out here, you understand? Nobody came out here bashing yous. I have my flyers. If you'd like to see one, hold on, I got it for you, Tony. I was nice, Tony. I didn't put them out. But you throw a flyer, but you know, it says toxic waste. And I did it in better paper. You understand? If you want them, I could get a whole bunch of it. But I think that's a nice picture than what she's put out there. You know something? We come to a school, to a board meeting. We don't need this. Parents don't need this. Because the way they use are throwing stones at everybody else. We could have thrown stones. We could have had our propaganda put out. We didn't do that. We tried respecting them. But at least you know, I know where these came from. But the thing is like, Tony, I respect you because you're the only board member that came out to the debates, and the other 2 didn't. But also, one more thing, you had Fajardo here last month appraising of all these schools. Yeah, we do have good schools. But you know something, AYP, 3 schools we always
Mrs. Medeiros, will you please wrap up your comments?
Okay, 22, 21, 27, but how about the other family schools that we have to fix? Okay, and also, as a board, hold on, 1 second. As a board member, Palo and Montero, do you have kids in the school? So you shouldn't be on the board.
You're out of order.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. James Carey.
Good evening. At your previous school board meeting, I believe it was September 13th, if my memory serves correct, you guys strategically put a flyer out that had my past transgressions, and it read, we should be concerned for our kids when candidates like Rodriguez, Castellans, and Bachelors have their key advisor, who's a convicted felon who served time in prison, the record of James Carey. Let me clarify something for you. The reason why I wasn't here because I was with my lawyer. Unfortunately for you guys, I'm getting my record expunged, okay? But what I really want to touch on is, I'm not their key advisor, okay? I'm a big supporter of them. I make that abundantly clear. I didn't serve time in prison. I served 4 months in Bo Robinson halfway house where I was a tutor, okay? Then he said, the real reason we should be concerned for our kids, let me let you know, guys, the real and the taxpayers, Elizabeth, and your excellent faculty that you had come out here, why the real reason we should be concerned for our kids. September 19, 2011, Elizabeth Board of Education President arrested on state charge of lying to obtain free, federally subsidized lunch for her kids. And she was indicted and she still sits up there today. Okay? September 10, 2012, Elizabeth Board of Education member resigns after being accused of residency discrepancy and possibly committed voter fraud. October the 5th, former Elizabeth school employee works second job while on clock for the district. And I say, like I said previously, I was getting my record expunged. Okay, because I believe everybody deserves a chance, a second chance in life. But I want to know, why didn't you guys put a flyer out, strategically put a flyer out, when one of your administrators in one of your schools right now, your administrator, was arrested for unlawful possession of a firearm, a loaded firearm, possession of CDS, okay, boxes of ammunition, okay? I don't want to put her name out there because I believe she deserves a second chance. But so, either you guys have double standards or you're hypocrites, okay? Now, if I was so much of a bad guy, and I want everybody to hear this, if I was so much of a bad guy, why were you guys last year, April 14th, 2011 meeting, trying so desperately to honor me Community Excellence Recognition Award, James Carey, honor for work and effort in assisting the community of Elizabeth. Maybe one of you guys can explain that to me, because I tell you what, put another flyer out about me. If you do put another flyer out, make sure it's in color, because it's more appealing to the eye, okay? But if you do put another flyer out me, I'm going to take a police report, and I promise you, I will disseminate it all around the city of Elizabeth. You want to play dirt? I just begun pulling the layers from off you guys.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Carey. At this time, I close the public comment portion of the meeting. Before we go into...
Mr. President, can I say something? To Mr. Carey. I was sort of responsible for the award they wanted to give you. I know you didn't make it that one day, but it was my idea. For those who don't know, James and I have a cordial relationship. At the end of the day, James, I believe you should have a second chance. I really do, and I don't think anybody on this board doesn't believe the same thing. People do. You know, I've come across a lot of people in my life who've made mistakes, and it's unfortunate. Sometimes it is prison because a person makes a bad life. Doesn't mean you waste a life. I don't believe that. I've always respected your opinion, and more than all, your right to come here and give us your opinion. But at the end of the day, I don't think anyone here, I don't know about the flyer. I saw it. I don't know how it got there. And I understand that you're upset about it. And you know, you have every right to... Okay, well, you have every right to have your opinion about it, James. We had this conversation. But you brought it up, and I wanted you to know it was me who tried to honor you. Unfortunately, you didn't come that day. I don't know whether you were busy or not, but it was me who tried to honor you for your service in the community, because I know you do a lot of work downtown, and you do help a lot of people.
Mr. President.
Commissioner.
Mr. President, fellow board members, I was really holding back tonight from really even commenting, in part not feeling well, but I guess I have to. I was biting my tongue. To Marie DeRossi, who spoke, no, Marie, I don't have any kids in the school system. And I think to reiterate what I said the day I was sworn in about a little over a month ago, was that the reason I came back to serve again was to preserve this school board's independence. And let me say that again, to preserve this school board's independence. It was revealed to me that our political boss of this city, of this county, Senator Ray Lesniak, a boss of over 34 years, was going to funnel tens of thousands of dollars into our opponents, or the opponents of my colleagues' campaigns. This was at a time when I wasn't even running for office or thinking about being in office or serving on the Elizabeth School Board. But when I found out that to be the case, and an opportunity opened up and the board and my colleagues asked me, I was willing and able to do it. What's important to recognize in doing that was that when Senator Ray Lesniak could control this school board back in his day, with the help of his appointed board members, this was one of the worst school districts in the state, close next to last, okay? And let me reiterate that. Now, this past week, it came to my attention through many of the teachers and some of the administrators that they received these letters from a former colleague of mine on City Council, Mr. Frank Cuesta, with a personal note from Senator Ray Lesniak. And what's disturbing, it's sad, disturbing, and for me very offensive, because Senator Ray Lesniak writes, as a product of the public education, I truly value the importance of the effort that goes into teaching and working in a public school system. Really, Ray? Really, Lesniak? 34 years and you've never stepped foot in one of our public schools? 34 years and he doesn't come to one of our schools to visit. And when he's down in Trenton, rather than bringing more money into our district for our school systems, he asked the governor to cut. This school board has been audited dozens of times over. because of Senator Ray Lesniak and his control and his influence down in Trenton. Really, Senator Ray Lesniak. And I believe the envelope, which was the funniest of all, and I don't know if I have it here in front, everybody loves Raymond. Everybody loves Raymond? Not. It's sad. It really is sad, and I think they really went as low as they possibly can go in the gutter. The letter from Mr. Frank Questa, who was a former administrator and a former colleague of mine, and I had respect for on City Council, but he mentions here that Lesniak wants to know, how can anyone support this administration or this board and be asked to contribute hundreds of thousands of dollars every year, year after year, to candidates who support this board? Well, let me tell you why, because I've been involved in supporting this board and supporting this direction of the school board for the past 10 years, hands-on. I've been involved with the fundraising. I've been involved with the election reports. They don't seem to want to play by the same rules. See, they forget there are rules. And when Mr. Jose Rodriguez, the young man who came up here, and I give him credit and courage for coming up here and speaking, wanted to run for this position, he says that they do play by the rules and that they file their correct reports. That's not true. If you go on nj.elec.com, there's reporting. Last year, they had to file reports. There's a 29-day before the election report, an 11-day before the election report, and a 20-day after the election report. They only reported the 20-day after the election and failed to report $30,000 of contributors that donated and never, ever disclosed them. On our reports, they're all listed, people who donated, and they have to donate over $300 to be listed. Why I say that and why this is important is because while they want to break the law and they want to be holier than thou and come up here and accuse the board of things that are blatantly wrong and not true, we have to tell you the truth. And what's disturbing to me, anyone who knows me and has known my past and my family's, knows that I am fiercely independent. I don't care what party you belong to or who you vote for, but that you vote, and that's the most important thing. Well, why I tell you this? Because my opponents, up until about 2 weeks ago, when we were looking at their election reports, we were wondering, well, you know what, they're really not raising a lot of money and they're probably not going to spend a lot of money. Maybe they don't have a lot of support. Until this past week, something very shocking. I happened to go on the computer to check on the reports and found that they only raised $5,000, our opponents, which isn't a lot of money to run a campaign. Their single biggest contributor was Frank Questa, $1,000. Again, injecting politics into our school board. But here was the most alarming thing. When I went to check Mayor Chris Bowich's election report, there was a donation there to the Elizabeth Education Future PAC. That's a political action committee. I never heard of that. I didn't even know what that was. So I said, let me go over onto that site in the computer and find out how much money this Elizabeth Education Future PAC raised. Now, what a PAC is, and many of you probably follow this through the presidential races, these are these organizations. They're shadow organizations. They raise this money and they don't really tell you where and how it's going to be spent. So the candidates, all of a sudden, the glossy flyers show up, the mailers come in the mail, the billboards start, the TV commercials start, the fancy lawn signs all start. But here's what's shocking and what all of you need to know. When we fundraise, and we hate doing that. No elected official wants to or likes to fundraise. Unfortunately, it's the nature of this ugly beast. Because it costs money to send out mail and to do lawn signs, unfortunately. But what's alarming is we have to do it ourselves, and we have to do it with the support of those in this organization who will support us. And not everyone supports us. And not everyone comes to our fundraiser. And nobody's arms are twisted to support us. Ever, never has that ever been the case. And I stand by that. But when we do a fundraiser, be it $50, $75, or $100, we have to do it in pieces to raise $5,000, $10,000, or $20,000. So here's the point. I pulled out the Elizabeth Education Future PAC. This is one of those shadow PACs that just surfaced 2 weeks ago by, guess who? Everybody Loves Raymond. And let me tell you how much 4 donors contributed, and you tell me what you think about this. First contributor to the Elizabeth Education Future. And let me tell you what their mission is, because that's important. It's to promote good, honest education and support candidates here in Elizabeth. And here are their top supporters and donors. International Longshoremen's Association from 17 Battery Place, New York, New York. And they made a contribution of $7,200. Birdsall Services Group, Seagirt, New Jersey, big engineering company that just a couple years ago were hit for pay-to-play violations here in Union County. They contributed $7,200. Dennis Enright from Jersey City, a big financial guy who's tied in, big donor, one of the biggest donors to Everybody Loves Raymond, $2,500. And you have Peerless Beverage Company, an alcohol distribution company in Union, New Jersey, $2,000. And Mayor Chris Bowich, who doesn't even show up on this report, of $7,200. All these people contributed to an educational PAC here in the city of Elizabeth. This is who Senator Raymond Lesniak wants to come and control the Elizabeth School Board. An alcohol company, the longshoremen tied to organized crime in New York, a big financial guy involved with incinerators, involved already who's been suspended, and many others. Now, these are the contributors we know about. Between now and November 3rd, the election day, we don't know how many more are coming. But our opponents will have the benefit of seeing all this money come through their campaign. At first, we believed maybe they were independent of Senator Ray Lesniak and Mayor Chris Bowich. But that's not the case, because this week Mayor Chris Bowich sent out a mailer with our 3 opponents' pictures on them, same headquarters, same paying for all this. This is the point, folks. You have a choice, and there's a really big contrast here when you go to vote. You have a choice of an independent school board, or you have your political bosses, Senator Ray Lesniak, Frank Quester, Chris Bowich, and all the other bosses who want to control the Elizabeth School Board and control it for their own special interests, for the longshoremen, for the alcohol companies, and for all the other private investors. And that choice is yours, and you make it on election day. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Commissioner Trujillo.
I'd like to read into a record a letter that we asked to be prepared. It's going to be mailed to the Honorable Chris Sir, the Department of Education. We write you as a Board of Education regarding a serious violation of confidentiality of personal records of our employees. At this junction, our intention is to set forth the facts as they have become apparent. In overview, a former principal has engaged in sending out political mailing in support of State Senator Raymond Lesniak to the private home addresses of Board of Employees, namely teachers. Let us state clearly, any breach of the confidentiality of educators, such as use of their home addresses, in an act we believe to be a violation of both school policy and state statute. Enclosed is a copy of the packet of material sent out by former Principal Frank Quester. We don't believe it necessary, again, to respond to the allegations contained in his letter. The charges were fully refuted after the expansive investigation conducted by former Supreme Court Justice Gary Stein. Also enclosed is a copy of the envelope of the mailing, including the pretentious heading, Everybody Loves Raymond. Our initial review indicates the list of teachers utilized was not provided by staff One educator, for example, received a letter at an address he had moved from a number of years ago. School policy specifically exempts from public access the home address, telephone number of any employee of the board except as the individual employee may wish such information be released. In this specific case, we are aware that this extensive mailing did not have the prior approval of educators. While there is no paid for on the mailing, the bulk postal account 019J820171 form is contained on the envelopes reviewed. Also contained is the return address of Frank Cuesta, P.O. Box 97, Elizabeth, New Jersey 07207. Let us again express concern that a clear breach of confidentiality of the home address of educators has occurred. We are attempting through the Human Resource Department to quantify the number of employees whose privacy has been violated. At this juncture, before proceeding, we believe the appropriate path is to first notify the concerned parties so that the matter is appropriately reviewed. We look forward to your guidance in this matter. Sincerely, and I ask all my board members to please join me in signing this letter as I pass it around.
Mr. President, can I make a comment? Commissioner? I generally reserve a lot of my comments, and I'm not usually an outspoken person. I don't like to get into confrontations. I try to stay away from situations that would put me in that place. But sometimes when I sit down here and I listen to people that are running for this position, and first off, all they come here is to read documents prepared by individuals who are getting paid to drum up or stir up information and misconstrue facts. I don't know what to say. It's appalling. I think the person should sit down. If they're really interested in being a part of this, study what you're trying to say. Make sure you understand what the facts really are before you come up to this microphone and try to speak, I guess, in such a negative manner against the hard work of 4,000 plus employees that work in this district, that come here day in and day out to make sure 23,000 kids that go to school here in Elizabeth are given what they deserve, the chance that they deserve. If we want to speak about some of the items that we do like to talk about that has come through because of the work of not only this board, the administration, and the teachers in this district, we have things like 12 new schools that were built in this city. Brand new schools that did not cost one dime to any taxpayer here in the city of Elizabeth. 12 new schools. Do you guys understand what 12 new schools would have been, or what it would be like in a classroom with 12 new schools less in our district? We would probably have about 45 to 50 kids per classroom. Those are facts. We opened 5 other schools that were closed by the Archdiocese. That totals a total of 17 schools open in the city of Elizabeth. Please go Google what other city, not only in New Jersey, what other city in this country has had the pleasure to open 17 brand new schools in their own city. Look up facts. Those are facts. Student achievement. They come here and say, yes, we're celebrating mediocrity, I think the statement was. No, it's not celebrating mediocrity. I don't think in sports anyone goes there and they look to lose. This district has had 6 years of scores that are going up. Are they where we want them to be? No. But are we not going to commend the people that have risen from where it was before? Definitely. Why? Because they're doing the hard work and they're trying to get there. Our goal is to be there and be somewhere higher than what we are. But we have to commend people that work hard and bring good results. I don't see who's against that. Why would you be against that? I think another statement was made in the sense of with our graduation rates. This district has one of the most stringent requirements for any one given high school student in the state. I believe the state's requirement is 120 credits, and ours currently here in the city is 160. Am I correct? 160 credits our kids have to get just to be able to graduate from our Elizabeth High School, from one of our 6 academies in Elizabeth. And not only that, they have to provide, I think, 40 or 60 hours of community service as well. So when you come here and say that we're not challenging the kids enough, read the facts, understand the facts. Don't listen to what these people are telling you. Read the facts. If you want to be taken seriously, be serious. Don't come here and make a joke of my time because you think that you're the right choice. You're not the right choice if you just come here and speak negative about not only the people that you're going to represent, but you're speaking negative even of the students that come to the district. I don't understand how that's a good ploy for being elected. Another item that I wanted to really touch on, all of these things, and part of our job as a board member is we have different items, right? We have to worry about making sure our kids are educated, while making sure that the taxpayer dollars are being spent properly. All of the changes from schools being built, from the scores being up, achieving blue ribbon status in some schools, upgrading athletic facilities, upgrading school facilities in the old schools that were that don't have air conditioning or whatever the case might be. All these items have been done without raising the taxes for 2 years in the city of Elizabeth. So fiscally, I think we're being very responsible. And those are facts that nobody speaks of. You know what? If you came to the actual budget hearing, you would know. But you didn't because you didn't care. So don't come here and just make a ploy and you come here and say that you don't want to politicize. You politicize by just getting there on the mic and saying that all these false allegations that you don't even back by facts. I don't get paid to be here. I'm here because I think it's something important. I have kids that go to this district. I believe that what they do and what we've been doing and what we've been achieving is something great. And that's why I'll keep fighting until the citizens of Elizabeth don't elect me anymore. I will keep doing what I was elected to do and make sure that not only the students of the city of the Elizabeth Public Schools are given the best that they can, but also that we do it in a manner that is fiscally responsible for our taxpayers. And I just want to commend, before I end, Mr. Jacobs for his comments in the fact that, yes, I totally agree that we do spend way too much time on trying to fight these political forces. And yes, it's two ways, because I don't think anyone would, if anyone is getting punched, I don't think anyone wants to lay on the floor and just keep taking punches. And unfortunately, it's as a board, I think our job here is to make sure that we fight those people that are trying to get in here and take over for the wrong purposes. And that's basically what I wish it wasn't that way. I really truly wish that our board meetings were mostly held on parents that were coming up to actually provide us with situations. I welcome that. If there's a problem, we don't know all of them. I welcome any parent that comes here and provides us with something that we didn't know. I welcome that. But when we're being attacked, I am sorry, we have to push back. And I will keep doing that, and I thank you, and I'm sorry that I took up so much time.
Commissioner Garcia.
Well, I I just want to voice what Paul said. He said pretty much everything, but I got to tell you my side of it. I have the pleasure of being involved in eds. I work for a district and I sit on the board. I believe I've been blessed in this sense because I could see every day of my life, like I see the regular ed kids and I see the special ed children. I sit with parents, they take me to court, we decide, we do something about it, I get the principal and everything that goes on around here, I do it in my job. I do the out of district. I know what happens there. They're private schools and they could take in children, they decide to take these children and we pay for it. Elizabeth,
you had your time to speak. You had your time to speak. Thank you. You are out of order.
Elizabeth is very generous sending these children out of district. Why? Because they have programs that will help them out. And I'm glad they're doing that. I never seen so many children going out of district. And it's because they need that. I am very happy to sit on this board. I never been happy in my life. I think there's time for everything in your life. My children graduated from high school and they're moving on, and this is my time to do this. I'm very kind to my parents, never had any problems with them. I solved the problems. There's a lot of respect, and I think in life we have to respect each other. And I will never think, as a parent, I will drop off my child thinking that somebody's going to hurt my child or anything. Each one of us has a different role in education. Everybody, from the administrators to the teachers to the ladies that provide the lunch. We are responsible for the children. If you didn't think, or I didn't think as a parent that my child was going to be safe, then we will never send them to school. And it's our job to make sure they're educated. Children are educated differently. Every teacher has a different way of teaching, but the same end results. Children learn at different rates. They have different learning styles. We cannot think that every child is going to learn the same way. The sister, even if you have a twin brother, it's not the same. So I'm asking parents just to realize how we try to help the children. We're not here to harm. We have security guards in Elizabeth. Where I work, we don't have security guards. Why? Because it's a different population. We have gangs. We have problems, and we're trying to work with it. We just want our kids to be safe and to learn. That's our mission. We don't want to do anything against children. I was very much hurt that we are garbage. No, we're not. We have children. We're a community. We have to respect them. We have to value what we have here and protect them. And it's our job as a board members to make sure that every child is educated. I see the progress. I see the growth and development of Elizabeth. I saw a failing school many years ago. In my district, I was embarrassed sometimes to say, yeah, we're going to get there one day. Today, they ask me, how did you do it? And I say, it's with a lot of work, patience, and dedication. Because this is what we have here. We are a community. We are a family. We protect each other, we help each other, and we serve our children. We need to teach our children. That's our mission. We're not here. I don't get paid, but I'm more than happy to give my time and with among my board members. We serve in other districts. We have different jobs assigned. We serve the State Boards Association. Each one of us has a job. If we don't go to every different function, it's because we also have, not only we do other events, but we have personal lives. We do have personal lives, okay? Like everybody else. And we're all here to serve the children in the community. And we have to respect. I think we have to learn to respect each other, listen to each other, and we have a better world. So I'm very glad you're all here, and thank you for bringing your children to the Elizabeth Board of Education for them to learn, to be loved, and to care, to achieve, and make a future for them. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Any other comments?
I just want to be clear. I want to follow up on Mr. Montero's comment. So, Mr. Montero, what we've learned through these e-electric reports is that we have longshoremen from New York contributing to this pact, an alcohol company, alcohol beverage distribution company, the longshoremen from New York or New Jersey.
The alcohol company is from Union. Everyone is from out of the city of Elizabeth, injecting themselves into the Elizabeth Board of Education system.
Longshoremen, alcohol,
right,
and the financier.
So the question, what's that? The longshoreman is from New York.
It's a New York longshoreman.
New York.
What in the world would the longshoremen from New York, unless they're from Staten Island, I mean, unless they're across the Arthur Kill there, what would they be interested in education in the city of Elizabeth? Can they not see School 28 from where they're standing on the pier there? It's an excellent school. What else do they want? I just can't understand what they would want to inject themselves into education. It worries me as a parent. I mean, quite frankly, to have these, someone want to influence an election in a city they have no connection to, you got to kind of wonder who are the people running? I mean, if they're willing to take, you got to be careful where you take your money from. You align yourself with crooks, you're going to get burned. It's just unethical. It's ugly. You come up here and you make all these, all these accusations, and you have no facts. It just, I don't know what job you were offered. I know Councilman Cuesta, who's here tonight, was offered to be the superintendent of schools.
Once retired.
But he can always come back. I mean, if Senator Lesniak had his way, Mr. Cuesta would be the superintendent of schools. Would be agency. And I don't know what they offered Mr. Rodriguez, but I can tell you one job Mr. Rodriguez and his team won't have. And I can guarantee you he won't have a job here on this board. He won't sit on this Board of Education. That I can guarantee you.
Thank you, Mr. Before we go into private session, I'm going to take the liberty of speaking on the behalf of my colleagues, because one thing I can guarantee is that their phones were ringing off the hook over the weekend and the early part of this week regarding the issues that many of our staff addressed this evening. So I would like to read to you a memo that was put together by our legal department addressed to the staff. Dear Elizabeth Board of Education staff, you may have received a political mail piece at your home marked "Everybody Loves Raymond" on the outer envelope. We believe that the home addresses of sub-district staff may have been improperly obtained from school district records and used for this mailing, and we have asked the appropriate authorities to investigate. We have been informed by the authorities that they are acting upon our request to investigate. To assist in this investigation, there is a need to preserve evidence. So if you have received the mailing at home, some of you received them at work, please save the envelopes with the mailing and forward them to this office. We hear you. We hear you loud and clear, and we are very, very concerned at the severity of what's happened here. So immediately we issued a letter to the Attorney General's office, as well as to the Union County Prosecutor's office, and as mentioned in the memo, they have informed us that they are going to be acting upon this expeditiously. I congratulate my colleagues on signing the letter that we'll be sending to the Department of Education, and it is important that it is recognized at all levels throughout the state of the improprieties that have been going on and the potential liabilities that can happen by having such important information leaked out. So thank you, my colleagues, and we will wait to hear from the authorities.
Mr. President, just one final thing, and it's the single most important thing I forgot. We have to give thanks where thanks is due, and I want to thank God for allowing me to be here and all of us to be here tonight, and always respect those who are important in our lives. And in 2 hours, my father, who is so dear to me, will turn 82 years old, and it's been a past tradition that I would be home sharing a glass of red wine with him, but tonight I'll be here. So to Dad, happy birthday and I love you. Thank you.
The President requests the motion to go into private session to consider matters exempt under the Open Public Meetings Act, specifically for discussion of personnel, specifically SM, SZ, MM, GC, DB, SB, MR, and CZ. Supplemental Personnel Report, OFAC Corrective Action Plan, QSAC Statement of Assurance, Harassment, Intimidation, and Bullying Results, and Workers' Compensation Claims, specifically NO, JS, CK, and MD. The Board will reconvene in public to take formal action. Motion made by Mr. Donoso, second by Mr. Gonzalez. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Mr. Kennedy.
Castillo. Yes. Donoso.
Yes.
Gonzalez. Yes. Montero. Yes. Padla. Yes. Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Nazca.
Yes, we are now in private.